being here and choosing to do this. I think we all know each other, maybe just a couple new faces. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Good morning. Do a couple of announcements. We are doing yoga at the Art Museum in the Sculpture Gardens on Saturdays in September at 9 a.m. with Anisha. It's free, and then you get a discount to the museum after. And it's the Sculpture The Sculpture Garden is gorgeous. It's a great place for outdoor yoga. Alex and I are starting the next 300-hour module. So we have a 300-hour teacher training program here for yoga teachers, and it's rolling admission. You don't have to catch the application and the start date at any time, but you just accumulate the hours. Some of the modules are required for the certificate, but a lot of it is elective. So if you are a 200-hour teacher looking for continuing education and or interested in a 300-hour, feel free to reach out with questions or check it out on the website. And this is a hands-on assist yoga teacher training in September and October. I think, is it 20 hours? Yeah, I think it's 5 hours Saturday, 5 hours Sunday across 2 weekends. We have a beginner series with Eric starting on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. if anyone you know is interested in starting yoga. We have a 50-hour yoga immersion with Adriana, Anisha, and special guests. One of the special guests this year. School-age children is a joy. So I get to be part of the immersion and teacher training. So the first 50 hours of our teacher training is that it's just an immersion into yoga. It's tons of asana. Hi. Hi. Pranayama, meditation, history of yoga, comparative philosophy, because there are many, many, many philosophies under the umbrella of the yoga tradition. And we take kind of a critical look at all of them and see what resonates. Great community, you'll make friends for life. And then there's no obligation to teach yoga. That 50-hour immersion is all about really discovering and cultivating the voice of the true teacher within you. You learn so much about yourself and your practice, your relationship to yourself and your practice. And then the rest of the journey through June is about expressing the voice of the true teacher. Again, whether or not you intend to teach yoga like this. I did not ever intend to teach yoga like this when I did my first 200-hour, famous last words. It just will help you communicate and express the values and sort of virtues of your practice and give you the tools to teach. And if in fact you do want to teach, you'll be able to teach yoga at the end. So that starts at the end of September. We did, I think, extend the application deadline to the 20th, which I think is this week. Also not a great week for making big decisions, so if you want to push it just past then, that's fine too. We have an eclipse this week, a lunar eclipse. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then it gets into October. Oh, and for the request box, also heard loud and clear, we're doing intermediate advanced yoga on Monday nights in October, from 6:30 to 8:30. Monday nights in October, bring back the 2 hours, old school. We'll be downstairs and we'll just go, again, I keep forgetting to look up if you can still say this. I want to say we're going balls to the wall, but I don't know if that, every time I say it, I'm like, is that still allowed? Things change so fast, but we're going balls to the wall on Monday nights in October. Anyone else have any announcements? Seen any good Fringe shows? Hi, Faye. Hi. Okay.
I'm seeing a circus Fringe show today at 5 at Arch. I think it's in Christchurch, and it's family friendly. So for any moms or dads who have, 5 and up.
That's cool. Maybe we'll decide between meditation and acrobatics, Kat. Well, meditation, acrobatics. Yeah, there's space, and there might be latecomers. So it looks like we could fit 1 or 2 in Alex and Jared's row if we need to. Yeah, you can come. Yeah, you're good there. Yeah. Was there anyone else downstairs? Okay. So we're in the final hours of Ganesh's birthday. His birthday started on September 7th, and it goes until September 16th, which is tomorrow. His birthday is 10 days, and I was just thinking about this on the way over. Also, I was texting myself some deep thoughts this morning, and I just feel like I need to say for the close friends in the room, if and when I die, that's my journal. There's a text thread to myself. It's got some good nuggets in there, just for you. Like, I look back sometimes and I'm like, I thought that. And this is also important. For some reason, it's like it's a mysterious story. Casey kind of knows it. My text thread to myself is between myself and Reaper Shadow Current Day. And yeah, I don't know. I hope someone has that story. It's not even clear to me. Was some kind of miscommunication with Siri before I knew that Siri existed. AI will hold that story. There's a lot of good stuff coming up in October. So, I think that the 10-day, I don't know if like some of the folk mythology, and if you know it, please feel free to speak up, speaks to why it's 10 days. But I was thinking about how just as human beings, we're born like so incomplete, and how it does really take a long time, a lifetime, to sort of shape ourselves, to sort of shape our identity, that we're sort of born unfinished. And I like that kind of, it takes 10 days to kind of celebrate a birth, to let it come into formation. Even if you've ever like given birth, had a baby, like that whole process is just like such a blur. Like, it's not just the day the baby came out, then there's like the day they send you home if you didn't have a home birth, or like, anyway, it's a long thing. I was thinking about that this morning. In last Sunday's class, which is on the YouTube, I talked about a lot of the symbols on the icon of Ganesha. He has an elephant head and the body of a baby boy. He has 4 arms, and he holds different sort of various instruments of knowledge in each hand. Again, I talk about those in the last Sunday class if you want to refer back. And then one thing that I didn't get to is, maybe I got to this. He sits at the threshold, like his mother shapes him, forms him, and then posts him at the threshold to her boudoir and says, like, don't let anyone pass, don't let anyone in. And he stands for this aspect within ourselves, sort of the filter or the boundary that can discern and does discern for us. Like we have to celebrate our inner Ganesha, sort of knows what to keep in and what to let out, and knows what to let in and what to keep out. He's sort of the protector of the boundaries. He holds the boundaries. So he's known as like the Lord of New Beginnings, the remover of obstacles, although he sits in the threshold. So again, we mentioned this last week, his size and his placement signifies that we are often our own biggest obstacle. He rides around on the little mouse, which indicates that his vehicle is the aspect of ourselves that has the capacity to get into and out of the tightest of situations and circumstances. What do you think? Maybe next to Alex. Alex, can you make, I know you like to be in the front, but do you mind, or is there, if maybe, yeah, just ask friends to scooch a little. And he holds, sometimes in like really great images, we talked about this hand that many of the deities do, that's called, it's the gesture known as a Abhaya Mudra. Mudra is a gesture or a seal. So Shiva, his father, does it here. He does it here. You'll often see them doing this mudra, Abhaya Mudra, which means never without our fears in the sort of classical mindset. In the tantric view, it means like never without our fears, and we're going to talk about that a lot in October when things get spooky. And in really beautiful pictures, you'll sort of see sometimes like tucked in right here, his broken tusk, which I was, again, just thinking recently, like how he holds his brokenness in the gesture of never without our fears, because it's our broken places, our vulnerabilities that often cause us the most fear and anxiety, right? So it never really occurred to me that he often holds the broken tusk right there in that gesture. So he has this broken tusk, and he's known as the scribe of the Mahabharata. The Maha means great in Sanskrit, and Bharata is sort of the name for what we now refer to as the subcontinent in Southeast Asia, India, Bharat. So it's the great epic of what we know now as India. And it's a phenomenal, it's like it's volumes, hundreds of chapters, compiled over hundreds of years, which is kind of an extraordinary feat. And he's known to be the scribe of the Mahabharata. He writes it down for us. And so he uses his brokenness to give to the world something of long-lasting, eternal beauty and wisdom. And it's this great, again, the deities, the mortis, they're not extrinsic objects of worship that we pray to for some intervention. They're meant to be mirrors that reflect to ourselves our own nature and character and values and power. When you see the god or the goddess, the more you know about them, the more you see yourself. And the more you see yourself, the more you recognize yourself in their image. And so he reminds us that our brokenness, our wounds, our vulnerabilities are the source of our wisdom, the source of our beauty. And yes, while they are sources of vulnerability and they cause us our anxieties and our insecurities, that he also signifies we can overcome all of that. We have within us our inner Ganeshas that help us get through, get over, get past, if and as needed when called to task. So you are Ganesha, Ganesha is you, and we're gonna practice in the spirit of Ganesha to embody Ganesha. Also, last week I talked about, I teach it every year, and I just got so much more from his reflection this year, that the trunk is twisted towards the sweetness, that his trunk sits in the bowl of his sweets in this hand, his ladus. And this very sort of Virgo, or sort of Hindu deity Virgo, I'm really mishmashing worldviews here. That the Virgo is the aspect of ourselves that is able to place things in good taste. It's our good taste, our sweet taste. Doesn't mean it doesn't mean be cautious of, when you Google it, life is sweet. It doesn't mean life is sweet. It's the ability to find sweetness, seek sweetness, and really the fluency in yoga is to make sweetness out of life. So we'll do twisting, and we'll notice how when we twist, we get into tight places that tend to take our breath away, but when we turn towards the breath, the vehicle, the mouth, it's actually gonna take us deeper and make it sweeter in the twist. I'll invite you to, well, okay, let's go, let's do it. The broken tusk will be in your body in the form of whatever your personal story narrative is around your wounds, your aches, your brokenness, your vulnerabilities, whether they be physical, mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual, they're all of those things, by the way. But also just in a more superficial way, the self-perceived limitations. We call those kleshas, the afflictions of the yoga tradition. See those in the sutras, the 5 afflictions. And Ganesha stands for the aspect of ourselves that's not trying to transcend the kleshas, as the Patanjali of the Yoga Sutras guides us to transcend the afflictions. The Ganesha is there to help us transform our kleshas, our afflictions, into beauty marks, to transform our self-perceived limitations into signifiers of character and deeper beauty. Imagine that. Take as comfortable a posture as humanly possible for you in this moment. By the way, in case there are new or newer folks, my name's Mariel. I'll facilitate. Next to me is Melissa. She's here to come around the room and help assist. Camden's out this week, so there may be no one on the mat for some of the class today. Melissa and I will kind of go in and out and maybe empty mat, but the room is full and my voice is present, so feel free to tune in and tune out to my voice as you like. Find your breath. Over the course of the next few exhales, take the time to check your obligations at the door. So this is our temporary departure from the roles and activities of our daily lives, an opportunity to explore the self, the regions of the self, the realms of consciousness, that we may cultivate and refine our self-awareness in ways that allow us to bring ourselves and all of our vulnerabilities, all of our wisdom to the world, back to the world more clearly and more fully. As you deepen your breath, feel how naturally your breath deepens you. Ganesha shares his sweets with his vehicle, his mouse, his breath. The breath ignites the heart, wherein the voice of the true teacher resides, always present, intrinsically peaceful, utterly powerful, the source of supreme love and divine wisdom. As the breath ignites the heart illuminates the mind. As the mind reflects the indwelling light of the heart, it in turn inspires the body. And here in this gift of embodiment, we have an opportunity here and now together to align ourselves, engage ourselves, and stretch ourselves through aligned engagement in ways that optimize our capacity for breath, for energy, for life, and also, I might add, in the spirit of Ganesha, in ways that help us implement, create, and sustain better boundaries, healthy boundaries. Take a moment to consider if there's anything through the ritual of this practice that you want to let out, let go of. If there's anything through this practice you want to let in, cultivate more of. And as you're ready, we'll bring the hands together before the heart in Anjali Mudra. A gesture of sincere self-reverence that recognizes and honors the voice of the true teacher, the voice of the heart, and the gesture that places this aspect of ourself before us as a guide for at least the time we spend together. Together, we'll set the tone for our practice today by sharing the voices of our hearts in the sound of an Om. Deep breath in. Bow to your heart. Keeping that connection inward unwavering, release the hands, blink open the eyes. And everything I offered in our practice is an invitation, not an obligation, so feel free to take it or leave it, modify, spectate, hydrate as you like. If you have questions, call them out or call me over. I like to keep it casual. You do you and we'll do us together. Come on to all fours to start in a tabletop position. You can pad your knees with a blanket as you like. Find your breath. Oh, is it not streaming?
Or is it just, it's working?
Okay, let's try that again. There we go. And just begin by linking breath and movement. Remember, the breath is your vehicle, your mouse. Your breath moves you. There's the tendency as human beings with big heads, not that anyone in this room has a big head, I'm sure none of us do, is to kind of move and breathe. But really, for today's practice, can you let the breath move you? And can you find, maybe even taste the sweetness in that? Notice what you feel, where you feel it, how it feels. And as you dial into the fabric of your body in this way, as the breath moves you, notice if there's anything in particular you might feel you need or want from your practice today, based on any sense of tightness or self-perceived limitations. Where do you want to open, expand, move, or remove obstacles? When you're ready, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Bring your hands up to the top corners of the mat and really glue your hands into the earth. Again, Ganesha is sort of our resident divine Virgo, representing mutable earth energy. The ability to be earthy and grounded and flow and move. Be permeable and changeable. Can pedal the feet from side to side again, breathing, feeling, noticing what you feel, how it feels where you feel it. Claw the fingertips, spread the toes. The breath feeds the heart feeds the mind feeds the body. Here in this gift of embodiment, as you inhale, float the right leg high to the sky. And as you exhale, take your lunge. Right leg through to lunge. Feel both feet on the ground first, and with the inhale, ride the breath up to crescent lunge. Take a moment to pause, feel both feet on the ground. Want to really work to square the hips more to the front of the mat. You can do that by lifting your back heel high. Press your back knee and thigh to the sky. And as you pull the feet towards each other, it's almost like you're twisting your hips, your pelvis a little bit from left to right. The left hip wraps forward and the right hip crease tacks back. And now as you square yourself, orient yourself around your deepest center, your deepest core power, root into the earth to reach up through the fingertips and bend the front leg 1 more inch. On an exhale, plant your hands, downward facing dog. And then you just check and see, is there any opening that occurred? Did we remove any tightness? Through the hips maybe, through the backs of the legs. Breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body. Are you wearing like a bulletproof vest? It's quite a look. Happy birthday, oh. It's cool, I'll ask you about that after, sorry. On the inhale, float the left leg to the sky. Exhale, catch your lunge. Inhale, reach your arms up. Ride your breath. Feel both feet on the ground. Notice what you feel what you notice. And now we take it up a notch. Lift your back heel to the sky. Press your back knee to the sky. Feel the back leg get straighter, stronger, more lifted. As you pull the feet towards each other, can you twist your hips a little from right to left? Right hip forward, left hip back. And you start to orient yourself around your deepest core power in your hips and your pelvis. And from there, as you root through the legs, reach up through the fingertips. And as you reach up through the fingertips, the back knee presses up, the front thigh descends. Yes. Plant the hands when you're ready, downward facing dog. Little pedal through the feet. Notice if you can find or feel any newfound space. Look for your breath and let your breath carry you through the vinyasa. Ride the breath. Inhale for plank. Can stay right here if you want. Exhale, chaturanga. Could also stay here if you want. Inhale for cobra. Extra breath in cobra if you're going for it. Press the inner edges of the hands down. Flick the toenails down. And as you exhale, take downward facing dog. Breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body. So to protect your wrist, you want to really try to push there. You okay there? It's going to like burn your forearms probably, but it'll keep your wrists happy. On the inhale, float the right leg to the sky. Exhale, catch your lunge. Spin the back heel to the earth. Inhale for warrior 2. Stretch your stance and stand your ground. It's also just thinking how like Virgo season into Libra season, this is the time of year to really get in those final moments of feeling your bare feet on the ground. Take us through the rest of the seasons. Pull your feet towards each other. Feel your legs engage. Now the tendency is to be leaning forward over the front leg. Let's pull ourselves into center as though you're trying to touch the wall at the back of the room with your left fingertips. Reach straight back. Feel your torso come more over your back leg, and now bend the front leg deeper. Squeeze the front heel in as you guide the front knee open. 1 more breath. On the exhale, right forearm to right thigh, reach the left arm overhead. Now you can use that bottom hand to help you guide the front knee open. Casey, take a little bit of a shorter stance and bend the front leg a little deeper, okay? Breathe into the back and sides of the waist. Can you take the right shoulder back and slide the right shoulder blade towards your spine? And now slide the left shoulder blade to the right shoulder blade. And as you draw the shoulder blades together, lean back over the bottom tips of the shoulder blades and turn the right side of your torso towards the sky, like you're twisting towards the sun, twisting towards the sweetness of that solar warm energy. On your exhale, touch the floor. Take it back to downward facing dog. Root through the inner edges of your hands. Make that the point of contact with the earth. The inner edges of the hands, the inner edges of your index fingernails. That meticulous, that Virgo-y, if you will. On the inhale, float the left leg to the sky. Exhale, catch your lunge. Back heel to the ground. Inhale for warrior two. Take your time and set it up in a meticulous way from the ground up. Feel your bare feet on the ground. Spread your toes and pull your feet towards each other. And then notice the tendency to sort of lean forward, push forward, reach straight back through the right arm, like you're going to tap the wall behind you. And as you reach back, feel the torso come more centered over the back leg a little bit more. And now descend the front thigh as you squeeze the front heel in, guide the front knee open. Exhale, left forearm to left thigh, sweep the right arm overhead. And now you can actually use that bottom arm to help you guide the front knee open. The tendency is for that bottom shoulder to kind of come forward, take the bottom shoulder back, feel the scapula, that's your shoulder blade, glide towards your spine. You can even take your top arm forward in front of you, that'll help, and sort of suck the whole arm bone into the socket. You'll feel the right shoulder blade retract towards the left shoulder blade, and then keeping that, extend the right arm overhead and twist the left body towards the sun, towards the sky. Left shoulder back as you turn open. Exhale, pass through lunge, downward facing dog. Can always stay in dog, rest in child's pose, or ride your breath through the linking vinyasa in the style of you. Really let the breath carry you through. Notice the tendencies, the places where the mind and the body might tend to override the breath. And then lovingly, gently encourage yourself out of your own way and let the breath carry you. Breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body. As you inhale, float the right leg to the sky. Exhale, catch your lunge. We'll pivot the feet to the left for the wide-legged forward fold. I'm hoping everyone has a strap. If not, maybe Melissa can come around with the bucket and bring straps to everyone. Make your feet parallel from the center of the ankles through the base of your second toes. I know it's meticulous, but if you build it from the ground up, then the energy will flow more fully, more freely, more clearly. Like you'll feel more energy, more power if you line it up. So from the center of the ankles through the base of the second toes, the feet are parallel. Then energetically pull your feet towards each other to feel your legs engage. Let's make sure the knees aren't locked. And then as you ground through your heels, keep your heels grounded, but tip a little bit more weight into the balls of the feet. That might sort of change your perception of the center of gravity. Like it might actually feel unstable when you do that, just because we are in this pattern of orienting ourselves to a false sense of center. So you got to keep your heels grounded and lean a little bit more into the balls of the feet. And then with a little bend in the knees, rather than pressing your knees back, you can press your thigh bones back. And now we're safely in the realm of the hamstrings. Can you keep all that and either interlace your hands behind your back or take the strap back there if you have one? Palms up on the strap, the palms face up, and you bring your hands as close together as you can, keeping your shoulder blades together. So if the hands come all the way together and the shoulders can't come together, then you take your hands apart, give yourself a little slack in the periphery between your hands to get the shoulder blades together. And as you hug the shoulder blades together, inhale to reach your arms to the sky, the chest lifts and opens. Keep that as you exhale, fold, bow to your heart, let the arms get heavy overhead. And as you anchor down through the tailbone and the sitting bones, Little bend in the knees, little bend in the elbows. The inhale pulls the feet towards each other. The exhale to pull your hands apart. One more breath. On the exhale, release the hands. Turn the right knee and toes through lunge. Come high on the left fingertips. Pull your feet towards each other. Big breath in. And as you exhale, right arm to the sky. Casey, right arm inside the right leg, arm to leg, leg to arm, left arm to the sky. But try, yeah, you can keep squaring your hips to the front, like a lunge with an open belly twist. Everyone else, the tendency is for the left shoulder to come with you. Draw from the fingertips up the arms into the upper back. And I know you want to plant that palm. Can you come high on the left fingertips? That'll be a game changer. And now as you pull the feet towards each other, lean back on the shoulder blades. Inhale, pull the feet towards each other. Exhale, lean back on the shoulder blades. Inhale to untwist. Exhale to downward facing dog. From the upper back, the newfound connection between the shoulder blades, the bottom back of the heart, root into the earth to lift up through the hips, press back through the thighs, and down through the heels. Huge breath in, the heart ignites. Long breath out, the heart emanates from inside out in all directions. On your inhale, float the left leg to the sky. Exhale, catch your lunge. Pivot to the right, wide-legged forward fold, shoulder stretch, round 2. So for my B-Day, Alex took me to this really amazing workshop of a nerve dissection of some human bodies down to the nervous system. It was footage, it wasn't the actual body. I don't think I'm up to that yet, hopefully in this lifetime. But you'll often hear me say to bring the shoulder blades together behind the heart like a cradle or a nest. And there is actually a nest of nerves right here, like a literal nest of nerves. So draw the shoulder blades together, like a nest behind the heart center. Keep your connection to that supply of nerves, that presence of energy. And as you inhale, pull the feet towards each other, reach the arms up to the sky. As you exhale, root through the legs and let the arms get heavy overhead. Inhale, pull your feet towards each other. Exhale, pull your hands away from each other. Gently release the hands. Turn the left knee and toes through lunge. Come high on right fingertips. Square your hips, reorient yourself to the center, and then reach the left arm to the sky. Now the tendency is to sort of want to palm the right hand to the floor or the block. Can you come high on right fingertips? As you inhale, pull the feet towards each other. As you exhale, lean back on your shoulder blades. 2 more times, ride the breath. Inhale, pull the feet towards each other. Exhale, lean back on the shoulder blades. 1 more breath. On your inhale, untwist. Exhale to downward facing dog. Can rest in child's pose, stay in dog, or ride your breath, your mouse, through a linking vinyasa in the style of you. That's the sweetness. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Turn towards your breath. Breath to heart. Turn towards your heart. Heart to mind. The heart illuminates the mind. The mind inspires the body. Here in the gift of conscious breathing embodiment from the bottom of your heart, the heart center, from between your shoulder blades, push through the arms. And as you inhale, float the right leg to the sky. Exhale, step it through to lunge. Bring your blocks high in front of you. Take a big step forward and up, supported warrior 3. Flex your back foot. Spread your toes and breathe. See that your standing knee and toes point straight ahead, and maybe if possible, you can use the light of awareness via your eyes. Can you peek down the front of your body and maybe find your left toes and see that your left toes are pointing straight down. They tend to turn out. Turn them in a little bit so that they're pointing straight down. And now the same thing here that happens in our lunge is the hips tend to be like a little off square, a little off center. Can you wrap your left hip forward and tack your right hip back? And as you inhale, get long through the spine, reach your heart forward. Walk your hands a little further out in front of you, high on blocks, and can you push the blocks down and forward to draw the bottom ribs and front, up and back, and from right there, lift your back thigh 2 more inches. Exhale, step it all the way back to lunge. Walk your blocks inside your front leg. Lower the back knee to the ground, pad with your blanket, and then bending your back leg with your left hand, can you find your left foot? Left hand to left foot. The tendency is to try to pull the foot towards the hip. For a different perspective, can you take the top of your back thigh back towards your heel, more like child's pose? Maybe bring your right hand onto your right thigh if you feel steady. And breathe into what can't be seen but can be felt. Let your mouth, your breath carry you into and through those spaces. The breath, move into the bigger feelings. Gently release. Walk the blocks way out in front of you, and we're gonna take a big step forward and up, supported warrior 3 again, and just see if there is a difference having opened that thigh in the front, the quads. Push the blocks down and forward and lift the inseam of the thigh higher. Nice, yes. Turn your back toes in. Push through your blocks to lift through the rib cage and lift the back thigh 1 more inch. Nice. Exhale, left foot meets the right foot. Fold over both legs, bow to your heart. To all that you are, all that you've overcome, all those obstacles, all that you've yet to overcome, the you that you are becoming. Let's step the left foot back, the right foot back, downward facing dog. Oh, just another revelation. You could lower your knees for a moment. We're wise where we're wounded. The elephant represents wisdom, right? Like the head of the mature elephant represents wisdom. He's decapitated by his father. What a wound. And then replaced with the head of an elephant. The wisdom is from the wound. Oh. He gives us his trauma to help us with our own, or to help us prevent trauma. He gives us his trauma to prevent trauma and to help us with our trauma. It's just such an icon. Such an icon. Okay, downward dog. Love Ganesha. He really is like the most beloved deity of the yoga tradition. Find your breath. No offense, Shiva. He's a 2nd generation yoga deity, and I just bet, like, if you were to compile all the tattoos of the 20th and 21st century, all the yoga deity tattoos, there'd be a lot more Ganeshas than Shivas, just saying. On the inhale, float the left leg to the sky. Exhale, catch your lunge. Walk your blocks way out in front of you and take a big step forward and up. It's a supported warrior 3. Sometimes the stuff that we overcome or need to overcome are these big obstacles, these seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and I just want to give everyone props for those things like that you've overcome. But sometimes it's far more subtle. There's tendencies, there's patterns that we may not even recognize need overcoming. And this is one of like the gifts, the fruits of our yoga practice, is the cultivation of the self-awareness to recognize the more subtle things that are sort of more subconscious or unconscious obstacles, the patterning, the tendencies. Is the tendency to push harder than necessary, to over effort, is the tendency to kind of pull back a lot for fear, anxiety, protection, and to know yourself well enough to sort of be mindful of the tendencies. Turn your back toes in. Wrap your right hip point towards the earth so that your hip points in front are like headlights that flash towards the earth. Slide the left hip crease back, and as you push the blocks down and forward, can you lift the back leg 1 more inch? Nice. From the core, so you're lifting more from the core than the periphery. Is it okay to touch? Okay, this is going to be dramatic. Yes. And then you're lifting from here. That's the way. That's awesome. Yeah, oh shit. Take a big step back to lunge. They're game changers. Like you wouldn't even know, right? Lower the back knee down. Bend the back leg. You can take your blocks high inside your front foot. And then with your right hand, find your right foot for the thigh stretch. I guess I should go up there. Pull the back knee forward as you pull the front foot back. Yeah, and it's of interest, you can bring the front hand to the front thigh. And then the tendency is to just kind of pull the back knee forward. Instead of that tendency, what would it mean to take the top of your back thigh back? So counterintuitive, a totally different pattern. But as you take the top of the thigh back, you're actually opening that right hip. The right shoulder up and back. And can you keep that connection? And maybe the front thigh descends. And can you breathe into the deep, big feelings that emerge from the fabric of your body, from the layers of your being? Let the mouth, the breath move into and through the feelings. Gently release. Downward dog. Pedal the feet a little bit from side to side. Stretch through the soles of the feet, the backs of the legs. We'll take the left foot right on back through to the lunge. Realize we forgot that second supported warrior 3. Oops. Hoping I would stay forgetful. Big step forward and up, supported warrior 3. But now, having let the breath move through the deeper, bigger feelings, notice if you can lift the back thigh with a little less effort. Rather than lifting the foot, push the blocks down and forward and lift the thigh bone an inch. Yes. Exhale back to lunge and to downward facing dog. Breathe, feel, notice. Linking vinyasa in the style of you, if and as you like, otherwise just taking the time to breathe and rest in dog or in child's pose, to hydrate if you prefer. Find your breath. On the inhale, float your right leg to the sky. And as you exhale, step it through to lunge. And take the blocks high to frame your front foot. Keep your back heel lifting. In fact, lift your back heel higher, lift your back knee higher. Feel how the front leg gets straighter. Can you lift the top of your back thigh up and back until your front leg becomes straight, like pyramid pose? And Casey, you're fine like that for now, but you will want to take both blocks inside your front leg eventually, and that might change gravity a little bit. With the back heel lifting, pull your feet towards each other. Feel the legs activate from the ground all the way up into the hips. And as you draw energy from the earth up the legs, pull your right hip crease back. You can use your right hand, sort of pull the right hip crease back and wrap the left hip forward. And push the inner edge of your front foot down. Feel when you pull the right hip crease back, the inner edge of the foot wants to pop up. There's like a tendency there. Repattern, root the inner edge of the foot down as you tack the hip crease back. Come high on left fingertips and reach your right arm to the sky. Draw from the fingertips up the arms into that nest behind the heart. Draw the shoulder blades together. And as you inhale, pull the feet towards each other. Press the inner edge of the front foot down and drag it back. And as you exhale, lean back on your shoulder blades. As you inhale, as you twist, the tendency of the twist is sort of to diminish the breath. Prioritize the breath and let the breath deepen the twist. Twist a little more on the exhales. Gorgeous. Inhale to untwist. Exhale, step the left foot forward and the right foot back. Lower the right knee down. Press the back knee down and forward. So when you press the knee down and forward, it's going to help to engage the hamstring so that when you now bend the back leg, you prevent that hamstring cramp from occurring. So press the knee down and forward. Keep that as you bend the leg. And with your left hand, can you find your right foot? The tendency is to sickle that back foot. And then that creates compression and irritation in the knee. So to remove that obstacle in the knee, can you activate the back foot more and turn your back toes out? It might actually help, I'm just thinking, like if you take the outer edge of the foot and then sort of press the outer edge of the foot into the hand. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. I'm going for the inner edge and now I'm going for the outer edge. I'll show you what I mean. Gently release. It's like the elephant goad. You kind of have to know, like, just where to hold yourself, goad yourself. So the tendency is to go here. This is fine. There's nothing wrong with this whatsoever. But the tendency is also for the foot to sickle. Am I showing that? Yeah. Okay. This way. Like this. So I'm just suggesting that perhaps if you go to the outer edge of the foot, you can sort of turn the foot out into the hand. Just a tip. And then that serves the knee and the hip and all the way up the chain. Okay, so we'll meet back there in the opposite hand to foot thigh stretch. See if you can get more activation, more connection to awareness of your back foot. And again, the tendency, the obstacle here is for the top of your back thigh to drop down and forward. The key to really aligning and stretching your psoas is to get the top of your back thigh to move towards the heel more than the heel, at a faster rate than the heel is moving towards the hip. Think butt back to the heel. Nice, Yoshi, that's awesome. Gently release. Downward facing dog. We okay? But notice maybe how much more access to awareness of movement in the legs is accessible to you. On the inhale, float your left leg to the sky. Exhale to catch your lunge. Push the front leg straight for pyramid pose. Blocks framing the front foot on their highest height. But we keep the back heel lifting here. Keep the back heel lifting. Pull the feet towards each other. The key is to press the inner edge of the front foot down and then bring the left hand to the left hip crease and pull your left hip crease back without letting the weight fall to the outer edge of the foot. It's tricky. Lift your back heel higher. Yes, and take the front of your your front thigh back. And as you push the inner edge of your front foot down and back, left arm to the sky. Rather than sort of the pouring of the energy out through the bottom arm and hand, can you reverse the flow and come high onto your fingertips as though you're drinking the earth in and up through the arm into the heart. And as you slide the shoulder blade into the back of the heart, that earth energy rises from the fingertips into the shoulder blade. You can actually lean back over the right shoulder blade like it's the back of a chair. Left shoulder blade to the right shoulder blade. Find your breath. Inhale, pull the feet towards each other. Exhale to lean back. Inhale to untwist. Exhale, right foot steps forward. Left foot back to low lunge. Pad with a blanket as needed. Is she okay? And we're gonna go opposite hand to foot on this side. Press the back knee down and forward. And then maybe slide to the outer edge of the foot as a way to press your foot out into your hand. And then notice the tendency for the top of the back thigh to drop down towards the floor, away from the heel. We shorten the distance between the heel and the hip, not from yanking the heel in, but by taking the top of the thigh back. It's a game changer. Breathe into what can't be seen but can be felt. And gently release. And we'll meet in downward dog. Okay, I just feel like we're going deep. So like one more for the psoas. Are we okay with that? We can lower the knees down. The psoas is the deepest core muscle that literally attaches you from front to back and top to bottom. So it wraps from the front of your spine. Oh, one more. Oh, so many things. I haven't even looked back at my notes from the workshop. I can't remember what day that was. Last Tuesday. Now I remember. But your spinal column drops from you heard this on Wednesday night, if you came, your spinal column drops from your your spinal cord, and it's constantly moving inside of us like a serpent. And I just it never really dawned on me before. Like, we talk about Kundalini and serpent energy in yoga all the time, and how like, when you look at Shiva and there's some images of Ganesha, he has a serpent around his waist. The gods and goddesses wear their Kundalini energy, their serpent energy, their life force energy on the outside to remind us of our serpent energy on the inside, and that our spinal cord is literally it's like just right inside of us, and it's constantly moving like a serpent. Like if you Google or watch a video of like a serpent moving in water, that's what our spinal cord is doing in our spinal column. And it just is like, when I practiced after that, it totally changed the way I felt my practice. To imagine that there's this dynamic movement in the very deep center of your being. Downward dog. No, I was going to show something. What am I showing? Oh, your psoas. So your psoas is this deepest core muscle that literally attaches you from front to back and top to bottom. So your spine, your vertebra, has a front, back, and sides. And in the front of your spine and sides of your spine, it wraps around like a corset and attaches to your inner thigh, your lesser trochanter. So it literally goes like this. And it's pretty much in a habitual pattern of shortness and tightness. And in yoga, we do a lot to sort of align it and lengthen it, but not like maybe or maybe not so much to strengthen it. So one of my favorite sort of psoas stretches, and then we'll use its strength where we're going, is we're going to come into our thigh stretch this way. And again, this is the tendency to kind of drop forward, fall forward. We got to call ourselves back into center. We want the top of the thigh to go back. It's not that I'm pulling my heel in. I'm taking the top of the thigh back, okay? And then I'm going to reach back with the opposite hand. I want to make sure that foot's not sickling, and reach the same arm forward and up. And I want to pull the knee forward and slide the ribs back. Whew. Ears back. Biceps back. Slide the knee forward. Ribs back. Okay, so now I'm aligning and lengthening the psoas on the right side. You can even, like, if you want to get really nerdy, there's like a little more like twisting towards sweetness. Ribs back, crescent. I'm sweating. One pose, okay? I'll talk you through it. I just kind of want you to visualize it, see it for the visual learners in the class, and then we'll do. Questions? Okay, downward dog. Because then the key is I want us to really deeply feel that action, the sensation of that action, so that it's a reference point of something that we can look for and find in other poses. In other poses where the stakes are higher, the tendency to not find those actions becomes a really huge obstacle. If we have a reference point from somewhere else, we can look for it when we need it most. I think that's called learning. Learning. On your inhale, Float. Let's go right leg to the sky, I guess, and on the exhale, catch your lunge. Bring your blocks high inside your front foot and lower your back knee. Pad as needed with your blanket or your knee pads. And then bend the back leg, and with your left hand first, find the left foot. Let's try to not sickle the left foot. And rather than sort of dropping down and forward, bring your right hand onto your right thigh. And as you pull the knee forward, can you take the top of the left thigh towards the back of the room? Yes, I know it's weird. Yes, that's the way. It's different, so different, I know. Thank you for humoring me. Now with your right arm, can you reach around for your left foot? Maybe, maybe. I like that, Nikki. Turn your back toes out more. Oh, like from the toes. Good. And now as you pull the back knee forward, can you slide your rib cage back? And now take your ears back a little bit and your left bicep back. And as you inhale, pull the back knee forward, the ribs back. Inhale, pull the knee forward. Exhale, ribs back, ears back, left bicep back. Maybe left fingertips reach to the right a little bit, but keep the ribs back and the knee pulling forward. Are we in there? Inhale the leg up. Exhale, release, downward dog. Alex was in there. I hope the doctor okayed that. Pedal the feet. Is there different now? Like even through the legs, like your psoas is such a big deal. Even in your breath. On your inhale, float your left leg to the sky. Exhale, catch your lunge. Lower the back knee down. And bring both hands high inside your front leg. Just get set. And bending your back leg, we'll go right hand to right foot to start. Activate the right foot. Pull the right knee forward, the left foot, knee, and hip crease back. Then maybe left hand for right foot. Keep the back foot active and reach the right arm forward and up. Now it's subtle, it's deep. As you inhale, pull the right knee forward. As you exhale, slide the rib cage up and back. Oh, anyone tighter on this side? It looks a little tighter in the room. As you inhale, pull the right knee forward. As you exhale, slide the rib cage back. Take the head, the ears back, the right bicep back. Squeeze that left heel in and keep the left knee sort of tracking open. Take the left shoulder up and back. And now one more breath. Right knee pulls forward, ribs pull back. And maybe reach a little bit more to the left, ribs back. Gently release. Whew. Downward dog. Pedal it out, shake it out. Can we check in from that? What did you notice? What did you feel? Anything? Nothing? You can lower your knees down. Questions, comments, concerns, conundrums, insights, revelations, anything? It's okay. It's not always verbal or oral. Could you feel that connection between the knee pulling forward and the ribs pulling back? So that's a really hard one to find in things like, in really any pose. That's a connection to center that is easily lost and that has implications on and off our mats. Like anytime you lose connection to center, it's gonna have implication on and off your mat. So like for example, when we do warrior three, I'm just gonna do it with support here. It's gonna look more like this, dropping the rib cage down and forward and lifting more from the foot, as opposed to like, imagine my leg was, I'm gonna like pull the knee forward and lift the ribs up. Can you see the difference? So rather than trying to lift the knee to the sky, I'm actually lowering it down to get in here. And now I'm holding the center and sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. Not here. This is a thigh forward, ribs forward, thigh back, ribs back. thigh back, standing thigh back, psoas back here, psoas back here. Could do like, I don't know what you call them, reps or sets. My husband was trying to explain it to me last night. I got as confused as I got watching scoring in the US Open. Love tennis, still don't understand the Russian doll nesting of scoring. So that feeling of pulling the knee forward, ribs back, did you feel that? It's deep, it's like a deep feeling. We wanna find that in every pose. The connection to center, unwavering. That's Ganesha. It's like how you hold the boundary. How do I want to say it? It's like not to keep people away, but to expand the center almost, to expand the boundaries. Downward facing dog. We're going to try warrior 3, and we're going to take it into twisted half moon pose. Find your breath. So when I'll say when we get there. As you inhale, float your right leg to the sky. Exhale, catch your lunge. Take your blocks on their highest height and take a big step forward and up for supported warrior 3. And then notice the tendency in that transition to kind of drop the belly, the rib cage, and lift the back foot. Flex the back foot, square your hips. So maybe lower the back foot down a little bit. Yeah, so you're like pulling the back knee forward. You can even, if it helps to the gross motor aspect, you can bend your back leg, heel to butt cheek. And now hug your back knee to the midline and lower it down a little bit, like you're pulling it forward. Good, now draw the bottom ribs up and back. You can push into your blocks to feel that connection. Do you feel that? And as the bottom ribs lift up, make your back leg straight. Bottom ribs stay lifting. You're lifting more from the thigh than the foot. Maybe reach your arms overhead, one at a time or both. And even turn your palms down and imagine your hands are on a kitchen counter, as though you could push the palms down to lift the bottom ribs up. And as the bottom ribs lift up, can you lift the inner left thigh 1 more inch? Whew. Exhale, hands to blocks. Keep the back leg lifted straight and strong. Hug the back leg to the midline. Come high on your left fingertips, right hand to right hip. Tack the right hip crease back. Take the right shoulder up and back. You're twisting from left to right. Turn your torso to the right and reach your right arm to the sky. And this is the best part. As you inhale, squeeze your back leg to the midline more, like 10 times more. Keep that. As you exhale, lean back on your shoulder blades. You've got to ride the breath here. It's all you got. Inhale, squeeze the back leg 1,000 times more to the right. Exhale, lean back on your shoulder blades. Nice, Amy. Inhale to untwist. Whew. Exhale through lunge to downward dog. Pedal it out from side to side. Rest in child's pose. Find your breath. Recover. Breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body. Questions, comments, concerns, conundrums? Are there obstacles? What are the self-perceived obstacles or limitations? It's hard to know. I mean, the awareness, so much of the practice is the awareness, the ability of just even figuring out, like, what the fuck is in my way on our mats and in our lives? What's in the way here? The breath is the key. We ready for the second side? No questions, comments? Pro tips, teachers in the room, longtime practitioners? Okay, second side by popular demand. We'll meet in downward dog. Find your breath, ride your breath. Breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body. Inhale floats the left leg to the sky. Exhale to catch your lunge. Bring your blocks high in front and take a big step forward and up for supported warrior 3. And at first, just be mindful. Notice what happens in the transition. How and where do we lose connection to center, and how can we reorient ourselves to the center, to that serpent spinal cord? Look forward a little bit more. Come high on fingertips. Turn your back toes in way more. Is it okay to touch, Thea? Yep, yep. And now get longer through here. Yes, gorgeous. Press the blocks down and forward to draw the bottom ribs up and back. And when you draw the bottom ribs up and back, with your subtle awareness, can you feel how the back foot drops a little bit? And then you could even lower the back foot and push into the blocks to lift your bottom ribs higher. As though there's no limit to the expansion of the back body here. Your bottom ribs can keep lifting and lifting and lifting. And if you can sustain the lift of your rib cage into your back body, you can lift your inner back thigh 3, 4, 5 more inches. Can you keep that as you extend the arms overhead? Good, then right fingertips to the block, left hand to the left hip, tack the left hip crease back, twist from the right waistline to the left, draw the right shoulder blade to the spine, the left shoulder blade to the right shoulder blade, flex the back foot, turn it in, and reach the left arm to the sky. And now we ride the breath, the mouse, and it goes like this. Inhale, squeeze the back leg to the midline. Exhale, lean back on your shoulder blades. Exhale, turn your back toes in. Inhale, squeeze the back leg 10 times more to the left, more. And as you exhale, lean back on your shoulder blades. Yes, squeeze that back leg in one more time. Inhale to untwist. Exhale, step it back to dog and rest in child's pose. If you want the linking vinyasa or a few breaths in dog, take your time. We'll meet in child's pose or full pranam if you prefer. As you come into your child's pose or your full pranam, you can feel the unconditional support of gravity rising to hold you, to support you, to embrace you. Let the breath breathe you. Feel the breath in the sides of the waist, the back of the waist. Notice the rhythmic beating of your heart, always present, easily and often overlooked, never further than the breath. Particularly the boundaries of the breath, the threshold of the breath. The space between the top of the inhale and the beginning of the exhale takes us to the heart. And the space between the bottom of the exhale and the beginning of the inhale, these are thresholds and boundaries, is where we pour our heart. How and where we pour our hearts from inside out. And the breath is this go-between, this vehicle. For the voice of the heart, your Ganesha. Come onto your back with the knees bent and the feet on the floor. You can place a block between your inner thighs. Bend your elbows alongside your waist so that your palms face the midline and your fingers point towards the sky. And then go ahead and sort of press your elbows down to lift your chest up and wrap the shoulder blades together into that nerve plexus, that nest of support right behind and beneath the heart center. By heart center, I mean the sort of psycho-spiritual heart center slightly to the right of the physical heart. Press the center back of your skull down so that the chin lifts and the throat opens. And now as best you can, keeping the throat open, stand through your feet to lift the hips up. And when the hips lift, you might notice the chin drops. Hug the block. Hug the block more with the fronts of your thighs and try to keep the chin ever so slightly lifted, the throat open, so that it's as though you could drink the breath in and whisper the breath out. Are you okay in the sunny spot? Okay. Or maybe if I just like stay right here. Bring your palms to your midline. Bring your hands to rest anywhere on your midsection here in bridge pose. Setu Bandhasana, you are the instrument of connection. And as you inhale, feel the breath expand into the palms of your hands, hug the block. And as you exhale, press the feet down and forward, feel the bridge grow from inside out. I'll say that again. As you inhale, hug the block, feel the rise of the breath in the palms of your hands. And as you exhale, press your feet down and forward. Turn your toes in a little bit. This one a lot. Yes, that's parallel. Does that feel so weird? Yeah.
So it doesn't really.
Can you feel it though?
Yeah.
Okay. Does it hurt when you do this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then
It strains the knee
it strains the knee.
because it's broken. It was broken, so it
Okay.
feels wrong.
So then you don't have to have the block. You want to turn this out, you're saying, so that it doesn't strain the knee?
Yeah.
Does that feel better?
Yeah.
Because you're doing good without the block here. Does that feel better without it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just think pubic bone towards the floor. You're good, you're doing it. On your exhale, slowly lower all the way down to the earth. And as you let the hips soften and settle into the lap of the earth, you can put the block to the side. Keep the palms resting on your belly, somewhere below your navel. The eyes can be softly open or softly closed. And now you can imagine a serpent, a snake in water, the way it sort of swivels through water. Now your spinal cord is turned on its side in water. And while you sort of drop into stillness, there's still a dynamic movement in the depth of your being. We are so much more than meets the eye. And there are so many aspects of our lives, intrinsically and extrinsically, socially, culturally, globally, that eclipses our true nature and our capacity to be aware of and deeply connected to what resides in the core of every one of us. Just take a moment to receive. I'll often say to receive yourself more fully, but really for now, for today, for this week, to receive yourself more deeply, to be more receptive to the depth of your being. A moment to breathe in deeply and out fully in service to the depth of your being. You can feel both feet on the ground, bend the elbows alongside, press the elbows down to sort of puff up the chest and the heart and wriggle the shoulder blades together. We're going bridge pose, round 2. Stand through your feet to lift your hips. And see yourself now as the bridge, the instrument of connection that brings seemingly faraway places together. You are the bridge between the inner world and the outer world. And in many of your roles and aspects in your daily life, you are the bridge between many worlds. You're the instrument of connection. Can you see yourself as such and allow the instrument to be heartfelt? From the heart, to the heart, to the heart, from the heart. You can stay right here. If you want to find a little more ease here, stack 1 or 2 blocks under your hips and allow this bridge to be supported, deeply supported, supportive. If you want more, you can place your hands outside your ears about as wide as your mat. Fingers will point in the direction of your feet. For Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow pose, named for the bow and arrow. And as you come into your upward facing bow pose, you're directing your heart to the sky, to the highest realm, to the highest plane. Turn your toes in and your hands out. Try not to eclipse the breath here. Find your breath. As you inhale, hug the knees to the midline. As you exhale, push your feet down and forward. Feel the heart open from inside out. Breathe through your nose. One more breath. And on the exhale, slowly, slowly, gracefully as best you can, bring yourself back down to earth. And we'll meet here again with the hands on the belly. Find and feel the rise and fall of your breath in the palms of your hands. Notice the rhythmic beating of your heart, that deep throb, that pulsation of life. Let it reverberate through every fiber of your being, setting and resetting the tone, the energy, the vibe. Which brings me to this full moon. I think it's a supermoon, lunar eclipse in Pisces. It's a little bit of a WTF, such is life. I said to Gigi this morning, she's been like, quote unquote, hurting herself a lot lately, like constantly. Oh, I hurt this. Oh, I hurt that. Man, this hurts. So I said to her this morning, she hurt her finger brushing her teeth. I said, I have a question for you. Why do you keep hurting yourself so much lately? And she goes, that's just life. Oh my God, literally. So the full moon in Pisces, the moon represents emotions, and Pisces is like the most deeply emotional of the zodiac. So we're all gonna be like deep in our biggest feelings. You can stay here, come into a supported bridge pose, or one final back bend of your desire, like whatever, like, you know, whatever you feel is appropriate for you for this final back bending posture, fully supported. You could also take a heart bench if you prefer, if you know it and love it. So the super full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces is about being aware of and present with our sort of deepest, biggest feelings. Being present with and finding greater awareness around how these deepest, biggest feelings affect our energy, our fears, our anxieties, our daily lives. And an opportunity to just like from the gleaning of awareness and insight around encountering this aspect of ourselves. Not something we have to do all the time, every day. There's like moments, portals, if you will. The ways in which these deepest, biggest feelings are perhaps creating patterns of obstacles towards fulfilling our purpose and potential. So that we can do some work over the next few months around recalibrating this energy, resetting the terms of alignment and boundaries around what we feel, how we feel it, where we feel it. We say it every time in yoga, but it's like in more of a daily maintenance kind of way, like your weekly therapy as opposed to like your once in a blue moon past life regression therapy. These are different, they're both great therapies. You don't need to do like past life regression every week. When you finish that back bend, let's lower the hips to the floor and take the feet as wide as the mat and let the knees rest against each other at the midline. And just gently windshield wiper your knees from side to side. So your feet are as wide as the mat. And as you exhale, the knees fall to the right. And as you inhale to center and exhale to the left. So it's dynamic, but you're still riding the breath. So the movement's not guiding the breath is guiding the movement. Just to be clear, let the breath carry the movement. And notice if it's like stickier, a little bit like it's not for everyone, but for me, like it'll sort of glide to one side, but get like a little stickier going to the other side. And the movement here is really, it's coming from the depth of your being, from the seat of your deepest feelings and emotions. So as you sort of sway your legs from side to side, you might consider, what is it that I'm digesting or needing to digest? What is undigested from my life? What am I, like what's gestating? Where is there like potential that wants to be born, something that needs or wants to be created? It's not necessarily the time to manifest or create, but it's the time to really be present with yourself in a deeper way around maybe what's stuck or getting in the way of what needs to be let in or let out. Really working with our inner Ganesha, our thresholds and our boundaries. Hug your knees in towards your chest, wrap your arms around your legs, give yourself the sweetest, most loving embrace, a turn towards sweetness. And you can take the knees a little wider apart and thread the arms between the legs and hold the outer edges of your feet, your outer ankles, or your outer shins for happy baby. And in happy baby, gently rock from side to side and in any kind of way, in any kind of pace that is just pleasurable, like a baby would. And as you do so, you can scan your body with your awareness to see, are there any final poses, movements, or adjustments that you need or want to make in order to feel completely prepared to fully relax? You can add or remove layers, add or remove props, maybe a couple more spinal twists to each side if you like. Just make sure you end with something symmetrical. And as you begin the process of spreading yourself out on the altar of the earth and making of yourself just a sweet, sweet offering to the lap of the earth. Look for the breath. Let the breath hold your vision. And take a moment to acknowledge the breath, to honor the breath, and aiding you and guiding you, supporting you in and through all that you have had to overcome. And let the breath point, guide you to where this wisdom of having overcome lives in your body. Your instincts, your intuition, your heart, your creativity, your insightfulness, your connectivity. Sort of locate these landmarks within yourself as you explore the interior landscape in and on the vehicle of your breath. And way back at the beginning of this year, around the Lunar New Year, we welcomed in the Year of the Dragon. And the theme of our practice, the theme of the overall year, is one of unfolding your own myth. So allow the breath to be your most trusted guide, sort of the best supporting actor, if you will. in your journey, your story. Of fulfilling your potential and all that you will be required to overcome in order to do so. In a world and a life of uncertainty, in a world and a life that promises uncertainty, sort of invokes our vulnerabilities and insecurities and fears, you can, you may, the yoga tradition would say must, trust your breath. Your resilience. And the idea that you are sufficient unto yourself, that you have everything you need unto yourself to overcome all that is and all that lies ahead. Imagine that. And any time and every time you see this elephant-headed deity, be reminded of your resilience, your virtuosity, your extraordinary capacity. Invite a slow, deep breath in. Let the breath carry you into your depths and fill you to the brim. And a slow, long breath out. Let the breath pour out of you heartfelt, as far and as wide as you can possibly imagine. Ride the breath 2 more times in this way. Let the breath take you to your depths, fill you to your brim, ignite the heart. And as you exhale, the splendor of the heart emanates from inside out, far and wide, sort of pouring your heart out on the exhale. As you deepen the breath, feel how the breath deepens you. Just take a moment to be present in this reciprocity, the gift of life that each breath offers. And as the spirit that you are begins to gently awaken the body that you have, wiggling toes and fingers, stretching through your arms and your legs, let the body that you have affirm and embrace the spirit that you are, literally wrapping yourself around yourself. Again, for this is and you are the gift of life. When you're ready, with the eyes still closed, a steady gaze inward, you can gently roll to one side. Take a moment to pause in a fetal position in the gesture that symbolizes the pure potential, the unlimited possibilities of all new beginnings. It's like a threshold that as you begin to stretch your practice of yoga into the activities of your daily life, there's unlimited opportunity to cultivate deeper and greater awareness and connection with yourself and the world around you. And so doing, bringing more beauty, more wisdom, more virtuosity to those in the world around you. Again, as you're ready, press through your hands, find your way into a comfortable seated posture with the eyes closed and the hands folded before the heart in Anjali Mudra. In a gesture of sincere self-reverence that acknowledges and honors the voice of the true teacher, never further than your breath, which is never further than your heart. A place where our obstacles, our self-perceived limitations, our wounds are alchemized and transformed into wisdom, into beauty and creativity and the offering of goodness and character. And we place these aspects of ourselves before us as a generous and courageous offering to those in the world around us. We bring beauty to the world in so doing. We'll seal in our time together. We'll invoke blessings for ourselves and each other. And together we send the presence of our hearts, the voices of our hearts out far and wide to wherever you know it is most needed, to all those places. In our hearts, in our imaginations, outward. In the form of an Om, feel free to join in the sound or let it wash over you. Deep breath in. As you bow to your heart with all my heart, I bow to every one of you. Thank you so much for your practice and your presence today. And thank you for all that you are and all that you do every single day of this life. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, y'all. Always good to have some Ganeshas in your house at your thresholds. This one usually lives at the top of the stairs over there, so you pass him all the time when you come in and out of the studio, whether you know it or not, and just take time to maybe look a little more closely and wonder what things mean, ask what things mean. Again, I talked more about his symbols last Sunday. It's free on YouTube. Look them up, read the stories, collect them like bottle caps, see what resonates, and we're on to his brother next month, his lesser known secret brother. Well, he has two brothers, but we're gonna do, thanks folks at home.